2 years ago, I was 31 and working as an IT project manager, generally satisfied with my life. I was deeply involved with a woman named Allison, who was 28. We'd been dating for 6 months, sharing weekends together, constantly messaging, and leaving personal belongings at each other's homes. To anyone watching, we looked like a committed couple. Allison, however, came from a prestigious, wealthy family. Her father was a judge, her mother active in charity circles, and her brother involved in local politics. Their family name was displayed on buildings around town, a sharp contrast to my simple middle-class background. One Friday evening, when a plan with a friend fell through, I decided to surprise Allison at Compass, a pub where she was supposedly hanging out with friends. But when I arrived, everything I expected shattered instantly. There she was, not with girlfriends, but wrapped around another man. His hands rested on her waist. Her hands were on his chest, and their lips were locked in a kiss. Frozen, I called out her name. Allison. Her eyes widened for a moment, then hardened coldly. "Can I help you?" she snapped, acting like a stranger. The man with her called her Ollie, a nickname she never used with me, and asked if something was wrong. I stammered, pointing between us. "We're together." What came next was a ruthless cruelty I'll never forget. Allison laughed loudly, spun around in the crowded bar, and shouted, "Someone call security. This creep's been following me all night." The room fell silent. Every gaze locked onto me. 2 large bouncers grabbed my arms. I tried explaining we'd been dating for 6 months, but no one listened. "Sir, you have to leave," one said, already dragging me toward the exit. I looked back at Allison, eyes begging her to tell the truth. She met my gaze and said flatly, "I've never seen this man before in my life." Moments later, I was shoved onto the slick sidewalk outside. The door slammed behind me as rain soaked my clothes. Humiliated, I didn't call or text her that night. Instead, a cold determination took root. Over the next week, I gathered every piece of proof of our relationship. Texts, emails, photos, social media posts she hadn't deleted, receipts for gifts, and hotel bookings from trips we'd taken together. Digging deeper, I found she was simultaneously seeing 3 other men. One was a regular at the pub, another worked at her family's law firm, and a third had ties to her father's political circle. None of them knew about the others. I made 3 copies of the file, a digital version, one kept in my apartment, and one professionally bound like a legal dossier. I mailed the bound copy to her father, the judge, at his courthouse office, along with a note. "Your daughter's true character is fully documented here. This will be made public tomorrow unless you and Allison meet me at my apartment at 7 p.m. I included my address and phone number. Within an hour, the judge called, furious. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he demanded. "I'm guessing you received my package." I said calmly, "That's blackmail. I could have you arrested. It's simply the truth. I'm not asking for money. But if you prefer, I can send this to your law firm's partners, the Bar Association, your wife's charity board, and even your children's college admissions offices. That's your choice." There was silence, then a quieter voice. "What do you want?" I repeated the meeting details and ended the call. "You can't pull this off. My father will ruin you. Please, if this leaks, he'll destroy me. He's threatening to fire me," Allison pleaded through texts. I chose to ignore her messages. The following evening, I arrived early at the bar. The same bouncers were working but didn't recognize me. The venue was bustling. At 8 p.m., Allison appeared, her expression downcast. She muttered under her breath, "Let's get this over with." I raised my hand to stop her. "Not yet. We're waiting for someone." At 8:15, the man from the pub showed up with his friends. "Perfect timing," I said, standing and moving to the center of the room. Allison trailed behind, visibly distressed. "Excuse me, everyone," I called out. Gradually, the noise faded. "Last Friday, I was kicked out of this bar after this woman accused me of stalking her, a stranger she barely knew. The truth is, we had been in a relationship for 6 months." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The bouncers shifted uneasily. I turned to Allison. "Your turn." Her face flushed crimson. She whispered, "It's true." I urged her louder, and she raised her voice enough for the room to hear. Yes, it's true we were seeing each other. I lied when I said I didn't know him. Pressing further, I demanded, say it. She grit her teeth and admitted, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have had you thrown out. Facing the bouncers, I said, she's referring to last Friday when you removed me. As you've just heard, I was not stalking her. She was cheating and got caught. One of the bouncers offered a quiet apology. I told Allison, we're finished here, and started to walk away, but my night wasn't over. Later that evening, I sent copies of the dossier to her family's law firm partners, the Bar Association's ethics board, and her workplace supervisor. By morning, Allison had been terminated. Within days, the story spread throughout their social circles. 3 weeks later, on a Sunday morning, my doorbell rang. Standing outside was the entire family, the judge, his wife, Allison, and her siblings. May we come in? The judge asked, his tone much less intimidating than before. I let them inside. What you did was wrong, the judge began. Blackmail is illegal. I nodded. I was hurt and humiliated. I wanted her to feel the same pain. It's not something I'm proud of, but what Allison did was wrong. 2. Her mother spoke gently. We didn't raise her to act like this. Allison stared at the floor. The judge continued, you have damaged our family's reputation. My standing as a judge, my wife's charity work, my son's political career, and my daughter's college applications. I replied, my intention was only to hurt Allison, not your entire family. Her mother added, we stand together as a family, even when one of us messes up. Allison whispered, I'm sorry. What I did at the pub was cruel. The judge said, we're asking you to withdraw the documents. Allison has lost her job and reputation, but she has agreed to undergo therapy. We want to rebuild. I thought about their plea. My anger had softened, and I didn't like who I had become. I'll recall the files, not for Allison's sake, but because this cycle of revenge is not the person I want to be. They thanked me and left. I then sent emails retracting my accusations, explaining I'd shared misleading information fueled by personal pain. While this didn't fully excuse Allison, it gave them space to recover. I never saw or spoke to Allison again. She relocated, and her father retired the following year. Their family's prestige was tarnished, but survived. For me, the whole ordeal was eye-opening. I uncovered a cold, vengeful side of myself capable of causing harm when pushed too far. The revenge gave brief satisfaction, but left me questioning who I really was. I regret the blackmail and the damage it caused to her family, though not my decision to hold Allison accountable for her betrayal. There had to be a better path. Now, 2 years later, I've started fresh in a new city. Sometimes I still reflect on how quickly I transformed into someone I barely recognize.